Welcome back, one and all, to another day here at the Damage Report. It's a special day. I am going to call it Fran Favorite Fridays because we've got Francesca Fiorentini. Francesca,
Yes.
how's it going?
Really good. It's good to be here this week. We almost didn't make it, but thankfully Brett swapped with me. It was very fun that I was like, I'm back. JK, I'm gone.
I'm back. Nah, I don't like this, though. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. Although you did have an episode of The Bitchuation Room.
Nice
no
shirt.
Big deal. Everyone check it out.
Situationroom.com. John actually supported the show by buying that shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a live stream at Fran Ifio every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we have an actual in the flesh show coming up. I don't know if you guys know this. It's going to be January 22nd in San Francisco, and guess who my guest is going to be? He's this guy. You might not have heard of him. A really popular YouTube show, morning show, incredible fan base, incredible
JR?
news. Yes, J.R. Jackson.
That's awesome. That's gonna be a big one.
No,
But anyway, yes, I was very pleased to be invited to participate in one of your live shows. It's gonna be a lot of
John's
fun.
gonna be at Sketchfest for the Bitchuation Room podcast. We're gonna be together. You guys have to be there, so get tickets at sfsketchfest.com. And yeah, I just can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
I can't wait. We've been talking behind the scenes. I've been like interested in dabbling in some live stuff, and we're still, maybe we can return to talking about that once we get past the holidays. But this is like the lowest ask version of that for me. I just get to come to yours. You've already planned it. It's all set up. So
Yeah.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dragon
Yeah.
Squad in the flesh there's nothing like it.
Yeah, we haven't
Sounds
done
weird.
like a live show in so long, but this will be an opportunity to come and watch, and you'll get the Bitchuation Room. You get me at the same time. How fun will that be?
So fun.
In any event, we have a big old show to close out the week. We decided to just do all of the things. So we're gonna give you your garbage people. We're gonna do that. We're gonna give you animal news. We're gonna give you a live interview guest, an awesome guest, Nikki McCann Ramirez, who's joined us several times in the past few months. Going to be coming on and talk about the right-wing meltdown over Brittany Griner's return. So there's just so much fun, interesting stories. We're going to do a little bit of look back on 7 years of Trevor Noah as the head of The Daily Show. So just a lot of fun. So buckle up. And if you wouldn't mind, please hit the like button, share the stream. That'd be a delight so that people know we're live. And you can reach out to us in all of the normal ways, and we'll respond as we go. But with all that said, Francesca, you ready to start the show?
Let's do it.
Okay, well, this being Friend Favorite Fridays, we decided to mix things up because, little mini spoiler, sometimes your garbage person is such a big piece of garbage that you can't wait until the end of the show to throw them away. So screw the status quo and the normal way of things. Are we ready to do this, actually? It's the end of the week, and so it's time to take out the trash. Francesca, you don't often get to throw away garbage people of the week. Who have you chosen this week?
Oh, I actually came prepared this week. I chose Jesse Waters for his response to Brittany Griner's release, calling her a woke prisoner. We may have footage of that. I don't know when we're playing that shot, but you can go to it now.
It's a bad trade. Worse than the Sixers sending Barkley to the Suns. This woman, I'm glad she's back. She's anti-American. She's probably a little less anti-American now.
Right, maybe.
And Whalen's probably an intel guy, and Putin wouldn't let him go. And so this guy's got American blood on his hands, and he's probably going to lead to more American deaths. Putin targeted Brittany. He knew by choosing a black lesbian celebrity, it would put the political squeeze on Biden. And now every dictator knows who to target. A woke hostage is going to spring you if you're a Democrat in the White House.
A woke hostage. That's what Jesse Waters is calling Brittany Griner. Here, in reality, thought that being a Black lesbian who is forced to play basketball in another country would actually work against you. But no, apparently the 7D chess of the woke mob says that absolutely that's who you have to kidnap. So wither Dave Chappelle's old bit about Al-Qaeda taking Black Americans hostage, because apparently now it's like it's the woke. And again,
that's a great point.
Guys, when you hear woke, listen, he just gave you the definition. A Black lesbian, like woman. A woke hostage. He just gave you the definition of woke. We all know that every time you hear woke, it just means Black people or queer people, right? Like, stop with the charade. Anyway, so that's my garbage person. It's just, it's amazing, John. I did not foresee that Brittany Griner, and we're gonna talk about this, I know, with our guest, that would be such an like that someone could spin that in a way that was like, nope, it was bad to let her go.
Yeah, and they'll say that the reason it's bad is because he should have somehow magically gotten a better trade that Russia apparently refused to do.
Right.
What exactly the solution to that is, they're not saying, because they don't know, because there apparently isn't a solution. They're more mad after he got someone back that was being held by an authoritarian regime than they were before he got them back, which is certainly weird. So if the Marine was still there and the basketball player was still there, they would be happier than half of them being returned to their families.
They didn't even know Whelan's name. They didn't know his name until Brittany Griner. And the only thing I will say about Brittany Griner is that the celebrity did help. That it did help that she had some amount of notoriety, and if anything, it brought light to Paul Whelan's like imprisonment in and of itself. Like, anyway, we'll talk about it more later. But my God, the spin.
No,
such trash.
They don't want her back. Like, they hate everything about her. It's identity politics. I know that's not how they use the term, but it's just they hate people based on their identity, and that's what their politics is based on.
She's anti-American? Where the hell does that come from?
It means she's not a conservative. That is literally all it means. You can campaign on how much of an S-hole our entire country is, and that does not make you anti-American. But if you identify factual structural inequities and have a problem based on it, then you hate America and you should go. Their entire network is finding flaws with entire cities, entire states, entire communities. But that doesn't make you anti-American. How convenient.
Yes, no, literally her identity is seen as anti-American. When is she tarnished like the United States? She's played for the United States on the world stage. How is she 100%. Anti-American? It's just that it's her identity that they see as anti-American, and it's racist as hell.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, like kneeling or whatever, that makes you anti-American. Trying to overthrow the American government makes you a patriot. That's all that you need to know about their entire ideology. By the way, he's one of the ultimate garbage people. I'm beginning to think, obviously, we're gonna go forward. Every week we're gonna have our garbage people, but I do think we should start inducting people into the dumpster hall of fame.
Yes.
I think a more broad-based look back on regular entrants to this category. So if you'd like to see that, let us know in the chat.
Just a little like Rizzo the rat character hanging out. I mean, love Rizzo. So like I wouldn't want to compare Jesse Waters and Rizzo, but like, just like a dumpster rat who's always there. And Jesse Waters, absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna work on that. And we're gonna get little tiny dumpster trophies made and we're gonna mail it to them. Anyway, no, maybe we'll make a trophy case or something. Okay, we're gonna work on that. We need a props department. Very good, garbage person. Thank you for that. And with that, for my garbage person of the week, you will not be surprised. Buckle up and watch this.
I've registered as an Arizona independent. I know some people might be a little bit surprised by this, but actually, I think it makes a lot of sense.
No, not surprised. And I do think it makes a lot of sense from a certain perverse, corrupt, sold out perspective. Anyway, Senator Sinema, former Democrat, has more to say. Listen to this.
You know, a growing number of Arizonans and people like me just don't feel like we fit neatly into one party's box or the other. And so, like many across the state and the nation, I've decided to leave that partisan process and really just focus on the work that I think matters to Arizona and to our country, which is solving problems and getting things done.
So look, she's garbage for a lot of different reasons, almost single-handedly stopping a ton of amazing things being done in the last 2 years of the Biden administration that could have helped out millions upon millions of people. That would gain her a spot in the dumpster any day. Here it's because she's lying about everything that she's saying there. Like many Arizonans, I don't fit into one party box. I mean, she added the word party importantly, because while she might not fit into one party box, she does fit into a box. It is a box that has been bought by corporate interests and the wealthiest people in the country. She, in theory, according to people who know her, at one point in the distant past had values and had opinions, had ideas. And she even tried to pretend that she had that, running for the spot that she still unfortunately holds. She ran not just as a Democrat, which now she has a problem with that label, but she was certainly happy to have the institutional support and the support of activists to get her elected in the first place. She ran as a progressive. And then either that was a lie already, or she was bought. And now, while she doesn't deliver every single thing that the Democrats want, or every single thing that the Republicans want, she delivers every single outcome that the wealthiest people in our society who have already won, the status quo has been made to benefit them. She has been put in this position to protect those people, and that's what she does. And she apparently believes that it will be easiest to do that now as an independent. I want to fact check one additional thing before we move on. We do have more clips of her we're gonna play. When she says, like many Arizonans, I don't fit into this box. First of all, get every other Arizonan out of your mouth, because you are not like other Arizonans. The only thing that you have in common with other Arizonans is probably a complete lack of respect for you. Because if you look at a recent poll, nobody likes you, Cya Sinema. I mean, she's not only net unfavorable across all likely voters by 17 points, young voters hate her, old voters hate her, Democrats, independents, and Republicans hate her. And in a true coup, Democrats like her less than Republicans.
Yep.
So that's pretty amazing. Women don't like her, men don't like her. Older women and men, like the young, finally, we've come together, don't like her. People who didn't go to college, people who went to college don't like her. People of all different races and ages don't like her. And if you broke it down based on class, I'm sure you could find an income or wealth quintile that would support her. The working class hates her guts, as any reasonable person would. She is a blight on America. She is the ultimate garbage person. Francesca, I have more to say, but sorry, I've been filibustering. What do you think?
No. I think that's amazing. I just want to say that you're forgetting the private jet owners over the age of 72 who have generational wealth. They love her and own like a cereal, like cereal company, basically like Mr. Kellogg and Mr. Peanut or something like that. Like,
yeah,
can I just say, Senator Sinema, you can't quit the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party of Arizona quit you. This is like, someone's like, I'm breaking up with you, and you're like, well, I'm breaking up with you first. Like, no, man.
You can't fire me, I quit.
Absolutely, you can't fire. That is what is happening. I just wanted to make it more of a love situation, but I think she's been taking cues from Miss Tulsi Gabbard, because like you see that there's a little bit of a stony-eyed, see you next Tuesday face that's like, yes, I am going independently wealthy.
Yep. No, she's gonna do well monetarily, and you can have that sort of unearned confidence when you don't have to fear anything for like 2 years. Because while she's a garbage person for a lot of reasons, one of the main ones is that she is revealing to us how utterly powerless even the majority of Americans are when put in certain positions. She got into office saying she would do X. She has tried to stop X from happening every step of the way. And there is nothing that can be done for years and years and years. She could give a speech right now where she just says, here's my Rolodex. It's a bunch of rich a-holes. They own me, you dumb donkeys. I serve them, y'all suck. I'll see you in 2024 or whatever.
I mean, I think
what are you supposed to do about that?
She's done that. She's done that multiple times. She relishes in doing that. And I think this is sort of this is why obviously the Senate needs to be abolished. I'm sorry, the Senate needs to be abolished. It needs to go because no one should have that much power. But here you have someone, they got their like foot in, into the bowels of the Senate, and they're never gonna leave. They're hanging on, and they don't represent anyone except their own little sort of whims and desires. And really all those whims and desires are just money. And it like, she's such a perfect example of like someone who already had kind of grifty instincts, just being beholden to contrarianism and money, right? And that's what she's and what was more concretely what it means is that when the Democrats call on her and say, hey, we're all gonna get together and codify Roe v. Wade, which is ostensibly something that a former Green Party candidate and a Democrat and a woman who identifies as bisexual might be in favor of, but wanna watch as she holds out her vote because she's not so sure. Because it's a decision that you need to be, that it's just every single state has their right to determine what they want to do. Like, watch how she folds on these issues. And the fact that she's independent now is so that no one can count on her because she does not want to be part of a collective. She does not have actual people in mind. She only has herself in mind.
Yeah. And also to be clear, she doesn't give a damn about any of this. Like, she wants to go be an intern at a winery or whatever. Like, she doesn't care. She wants to run marathons. Like, her job is an inconvenience to her, which is an added layer of garbage. And by the way, quick heads up for the next 2 years, I like to occasionally let you know what this whole thing is going to be about. In order of importance, the way I'm thinking about the purpose of the show, number one, to get people to actually care about the environment and prioritize when it comes to their politics. Number two is to get a progressive to win the primary 2024. Number three is getting rid of her. Like, yes. We are going to return to this many times between now and 2024 because that has got to be we cannot allow this to stand. In the same way that if you care about rationality, Herschel Walker can't enter the Senate. If you care about literally anything having to do with some sort of ethical obligation to your constituents or not being an open liar, openly bought by corporations, we have to send a message by getting rid of her, or else there will be more Kirsten Sinemas in the future. Anyway, with that said, we do have more video to go to. So I know many of you are probably wondering, what effect will this have going forward? Let's jump now to our third video.
I mean, your views are generally that of a moderate centrist Democrat. How does leaving the party change how you do your job?
Well, I don't think anything will change about how I do my job. Arizonans sent me to the United States Senate to be an independent voice for our state, and I'll continue doing that. What I think is important about this decision and this move is that I'll be able to show up to work every day as an independent and not be, stuck into one party's demands of following without thinking. And as we've seen in recent years, both parties have created this kind of requirement or a pull towards the edges that you just unthinkingly support all of one party's viewpoints.
Yeah, every bit of that is absolutely disgusting. It's a massive set of lies. She is unthinkingly supporting her owner donors' wishes. That's what she's actually doing. There is disagreement amongst Democratic senators. That's not what she is. She's a person that will deliver for the wealthy. That's it. And just a reminder to her, just in case, no, when you were elected, they did not send you to be an independent voice. They voted for a Democratic candidate. You recall that you pretended to be one at that point. They voted for a Democrat because they wanted a Democrat. If they wanted an independent, there are third-party candidates in many races. They could have supported one. And also, full well you ran as a supposed progressive.
Yep.
You ran for that knowing that's what they wanted. They don't want someone who gives the Republicans what they want, who stands against structural reform that will allow the government to finally solve actual problems. You didn't run for as that because you knew that wouldn't be popular, and the polls are demonstrating that. So you know exactly what you were sent to do. You're just refusing to do it because the people that got you elected aren't the ones that are gonna make you incredibly wealthy. Francesca?
Yeah, money is bipartisan, and I will go wherever the money is. And you need to remember that about me, and I don't owe you anything. I mean, she drips with contempt. Look, we all know politicians hate our guts. I mean, they hate us. They want us to die. They want us to live in poverty. They want us to be locked up. They do not like us. And Kyrsten Sinema every single damn day reminds, I mean, say what you will about Nancy Pelosi's like, fridge full of ice cream, whatever you think, her certain elitism, the disdain that Kyrsten Sinema has for her own voters and for the American people, like, is just unrivaled.
And you can hear it in her voice. Like, I saw you cringing from the fake, like, faux concern and gravitas in her voice. I don't give a damn about any of this. There's nothing you can do.
I'm telling you, what is the school of stone cold bitches that they go to? It's Ivanka Trump and Tulsi Gabbard, and they're like, okay, now you're not gonna feel anything. Here, we're gonna put a starving baby in front of you and it's gonna cry. That's just my life right now. And you're not gonna feel anything. And they're just like, you've passed, here you go, certificate.
Okay, I'm trying, at some point I'm gonna bring this up because someone gave me a heads up for something funny that's related to this, and we will get to that. Okay. But yeah, no, she's just the worst. Oh, by the way, here's a little bonus extra garbage person. Jake Tapper, you're a piece of garbage. Your voting record is very moderate and centrist. Well, of course, he is for corporate media what she is as a senator, a person who has helped to craft these absolute BS labels that whatever you think of Kyrsten Sinema, she's not moderate. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm just trying to be reasonable and centrist. She is wildly outside of the mainstream of what her constituents want.
Yes.
We don't necessarily have readily available terminology that's acceptable on cable news for how she's a radical, what sort of radical she is, but she is a radical. It is radical to give the middle finger to all of the people who voted for you, to utterly ignore their problems, to stand single-handedly as an obstacle in the way for progress to much needed solutions to problems facing the American people. That is not moderate. That is not centrist. That is wildly radical. But it's Jake Tapper's job to pretend like those sorts of people are utterly reasonable. And you're being unfair if you criticize her. And by the way, he transitions to that basic idea. He prepares her for the sort of criticism she'll get. Let's go to this video now.
You've been a target of the left, and people have been very critical of you. They're gonna call you every name in the book after this comes out. They're gonna call you a traitor. They're gonna call you an ingrate. What are you gonna say?
Well, I think I'll do what I always do, Jake, which is keep doing the work that I know is important for my state.
Yeah, that's what she'll do for the state. Well, maybe for the Chamber of Commerce in the state. By the way, so someone told me that her personal Instagram is a dumpster fire, and when you go to it, every single comment is dragging her. And so, but again, she doesn't care. These commenters are not going to be allowed on her massive compound that she will buy. She is being paid. She set fire to her former friendships and her former colleagues and everything. All these people who used to like her have no respect for her whatsoever. She knows that. She is now an utter martyr, except from the wealthy people. And the wealthy people are the ones at the parties she goes to. You don't get invited to those parties. So your scorn means nothing. You're just peasants who think you live in a democracy to her. That's all it is.
First of all, the left is not criticizing Kyrsten Sinema. Every Democrat is criticizing Kyrsten Sinema. I think that one interesting thing to note about this time frame where we see how Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema have held up real progress when we have the majority, when we have the White House, when we could actually get things, but they want to stop them and or only pass them if it behooves them personally, is it has actually radicalized a lot of centrists and a lot of sort of basic liberals who like weren't that into politics, don't really know who's in the Senate necessarily, not necessarily like progressives or Bernie folks. And this is a good thing. I think it's good that we have something in common with folks who might not be like, I don't know, anti-capitalist or socialist, whatever. Like we have something in common, which is we hate Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin, and we hate how undemocratic the Senate is and how it does not work. And we've seen firsthand how it doesn't work. So when Tapper's like the left, first of all, who is the left, right? Like I wish we were a force to be reckoned with more so than we are. And number two, that's totally untrue. Everyone has been critical of Kyrsten Sinema.
Yeah, and she's earned it. One final thought. This is something that we're gonna have to reckon with going forward. And I hope that we're all gonna be allies on this. So she now won't be primaried. because she's not a Democrat anymore. There will be a Democratic candidate who will run. Maybe it's Ruben Gallego, I don't know. But there will be someone who runs against her. So it's likely that we will be facing a 3-candidate race.
Ugh.
I don't know exactly how that shakes out. Maybe it ends up with the angry Democrats rallying behind the actual candidate. Maybe it results in, and just prepare yourself for this, Senator Carrie Lake.
Sure.
She'll run again. Cya Sinema will do everything she can to split the Democratic vote.
Yes.
Does a crazy Republican make it through? Maybe.
No, she'll split the Republican vote. But here, watch how she'll become anti-establishment. Watch how she'll start to say things like free speech. She'll start to like talk about like the forever wars. She'll start to try to sort of out left the like Ruben Gallego. Watch how this happens, even though she's so full of it. And those are just sort of like talking points that we've seen lifted up by grifters time and time again, even though of course we're against forever wars. We're against like, we understand all these things, but it's the Tulsi tack, it's that track. She's gonna try and play that card, even though she is dripping in money herself.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's a great prediction. So definitely watch for that. When I don't even think that she normally talks about foreign policy, so that'll be interesting.
Sure.
But the thing about this is, and I want everyone to have this on your radar so that you can let us know, this path that she's treading, like it's not like there's 1,000 different versions of it. We've seen it, whether it's politicians like Tulsi Gabbard or people like Dave Rubin or others. There's certain points that you have to hit to be popular with these people that you're trying to appeal to or whatever. So I think that pretending that you care about the forever wars while being totally in favor of drone strikes and torture and all that, that's definitely one of them. Do you think that it's a bridge too far that she will start talking about drag queen story hours?
No, not at all.
Or groomers?
No, she will. She'll do what needs to be done. I mean, I think Carrie Lake better watch out. I think Ruben Gallego though he's gonna win the nomination if he runs.
I hope so. Well, we'll see. I mean, God only knows. It's a long time from now. Okay, those were not the only garbage people of the week, though. I know that we've never gone as deep into a garbage person as that, but I felt like it needed it. But anyway, you all voted. In fact, 56,000 of you voted for your community garbage person of the week. And okay, wow, there was a far and away winner. Well, coming in at number 5 with 2% of the vote is Herschel Walker, a hopefully final chance of getting the title. Man, nobody was interested in Herschel Walker. Coming in number 4 with 7% of the vote is Tucker Carlson for still pretending the Hunter laptop is a big deal. Coming in at number 2 and 3, tied with 10% of the vote, you have Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy for expecting a handshake from Capitol Police officers' family members. That was pretty funny. And Samuel Alito for making a terrible joke about the KKK. Ugh. But no, 71% of you voted for Donald Trump to be a community garbage person of the week for calling to suspend the Constitution. You never can guess what's gonna get everyone to agree, but yeah, utterly shredding the Constitution, I guess, is a bridge too far. So thank you to all of you who voted.
So obvious, guys. You guys are so basic. So he wants to get rid of the Constitution. Basic.
He just hates, the status quo, like the constitutional status quo. Anyway. Okay, well, with that, we have a lot of other news to get to, shockingly. We're gonna take a break, but we'll be right back. I wanna learn it. I want to at least get to the point where I can understand it better. Because I know a good number of words, but
no, but here you're at the point I know you
get overwhelmed.
You've got to drink a little bit, get a little tipsy, and then speak. That's when I taught English. Yeah, when you loosen up and stop, it doesn't matter if you mess up, just speak. That's important.
Okay. Wait, hold on. DJBT says, John, you're being like one of the guys who thinks they can speak Japanese because they watch subbed anime. I'm not acting like I can do literally anything right now. I'm acting the exact opposite of that. I refused to even try. Anyway, I'm pathetic, but not in the way you're saying. Anyway, with that said, we have important news to get to and very little time to get to it. So let's start with this. The House has gone and done it, approved an absolutely massive defense bill. This is the yearly reauthorization of the National Defense Authorization Act, 350 to 80, so wildly in favor the House was. 45 Democrats, 35 Republicans voted no. And you should know that it is awful in a lot of different ways. First of all, it is an absolutely massive amount of money. We're gonna get into that. Some of what it includes, terrible. Some of what it doesn't include, maybe even worse. I do wanna be clear though, some people did oppose this. So that includes progressives like Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush. You've got Jesus Garcia, Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna, Barbara Lee, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Mark Pocan. Hey, Mark Pocan on the right side this time. Katie Porter, Ayanna Pressley, Jamie Raskin, Rashida Tlaib. There were some others as well. So good on them for standing against this. It is, in terms of like campaign ads and stuff, difficult to vote this way because they will immediately make a million ads about how you want America to be invaded by Portugal or something. But it was $858 billion, not for the rest of time, to be clear, just for the year. It's $80 billion more than it was last year, $118 billion more than it was when Biden entered office. That increase from when Biden entered office would be more than enough for us to safeguard America. That is instead just the increase that we've given. By the way, that's not even the entire budget. It is individually more than the combined military budgets of China, India, the UK, Russia, France, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Japan, and South Korea. It's also, by the way, more than the annual gross domestic product of countries including Saudi Arabia, Sweden, Switzerland, and Turkey, based on numbers provided by the UN. So it is a massive amount of money. It is way more money than anyone objectively thinks the world's militaries need, let alone one country. It is way more than the military even, or certainly the Biden administration wants. We're gonna get into some of the specifics on that, but Francesca, what do you think?
This is not the country I want to live in. I don't want to live in a country that pours $800 billion plus into the military and gives nothing to education, to stopping climate chaos, to housing, to healthcare, to the most basic of things, right? I just had a kid 2 months ago and I buy insurance. And even then, when I pay through pocket, like I've said this before, it is so expensive. It's prohibitively expensive to have a family and let alone raise it. I'm talking about birth a child in this country. It's prohibitively expensive to go get an MRI. I hurt my knee in labor and I'm not going to get an MRI because I don't want $1,000 copay. Now I'm making this all about me, but you guys heard me. Like, I am tired of living in this country that puts people not just second, but 12th, 22nd, right? Like, where do we factor in once everyone else has got their payday? When do we have basic needs met?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not refusing to work. I'm not asking for a nanny state like Republicans think. But again, it's socialism for the rich and capitalism for everybody else, for the 99%. And here you go again. What are we gonna do with this money? Everyone's yapping about, we let out a weapons dealer in Russia. We are a weapons dealer. The United States is a weapons dealer. Okay, 100%. like we're actually upset about this. So I look forward to a day when this is not our country. But for right now, I'm once again just not proud of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's insane. It's insane that the base ask for reduction in this isn't 50%, 60%, 70%. Like you are considered radical if you just say, hey, could we slow down the rate of increase? No serious person who is not making bank off of this thinks we need anything like this. And if we were going to be spending money to protect you, because after all, that's what the military is about. It's literally called national defense. How vulnerable do you feel to Moroccan tanks? Like on the list of things that threaten your well-being, let alone life, like a dude from Madagascar with an AR-15 is not high up on that list. You can take a tiny portion of this and make all higher education free. Would that not produce a safer, better country? For a tiny little fraction, 1 day's operating amount of this, you could strip all of the lead pipes from around the country. Would that not protect your safety? You could do increased regulations on environmental toxins, pollutants, plastic in the water and everything, in the air. The things that are actually killing you, because Russians are unlikely to. I know China's scary and everything. Chinese people are probably not gonna kill you though. There are a lot of things that might kill you. We can put some of this money into solving those problems. But military contractors don't make money in that particular way. this absolutely massive defense bill that the House voted in favor of. Let's talk a little bit about what that $858 billion price tag includes. First of all, if anybody tells you that's what our defense budget is, no, sorry, it's actually quite a bit more than that. That doesn't include spending on the US nuclear arsenal, contributions to Ukraine's defense, or veterans benefits. Those are all massive expenses. By the way, Massachusetts Peace Action noted that the Pentagon recently failed its 5th consecutive annual audit. But whatever, we should give them close to $1 trillion anyway. I mean, they're gonna bungle it and they're gonna lose money and there's gonna be corruption over and over and over again. We know that, but whatevs, I guess. By the way, they point out that 2.9 million children in the US were lifted out of poverty back in 2021 by the child tax credit, but that program expired after just a year. And now our elected officials have decided to spend an equivalent amount on increasing the war budget, something that actually protected vulnerable children. Screw you kids, give us that money back. Now we're gonna throw it into additional jets or something.
And we'll send you to war when you're 18.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we want you to be desperate, honestly, because we need you to be compliant soldiers who are ready to sign up. The bill also includes a rescinding of the COVID vaccine mandate, because why not? Again, just as a little reminder that this is not about safeguarding people, to be clear. Here are some things that could have been in it that they successfully blocked. So negotiators on the House Armed Services Committee agreed to drop a provision from Representative James McGovern that would have banned arms sales and transfers to any government that has committed genocide or violations of international humanitarian law. Another drop provision from Representative Jerry Connolly would have limited future offensive arms sales to Saudi Arabia until the country stops targeting dissidents at home and abroad. It also dropped a House provision that would have codified into US law funding and support for irregular forces under the NDAA section 1202, while banning that assistance if those groups have committed gross human rights violations. We're gonna get into some of the extra stuff they piled on, but all of these attempts to not have the money go to the worst people on our planet, no, there's no stopping that. Because sure, it results in tons of people being needlessly killed, innocents being gunned down, bombed, killed in terror attacks, all that. But it makes people money, so no, we're just gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, the weapon contractors need to eat, people. I mean, yeah, families need to eat actually, but no, the weapons contractors need a third vacation home, and that is what this is about. That number being the same as the child tax credit for a year, like my heart is breaking in a million pieces. When is it? And this is the thing about Biden that I have to say is the biggest thing that stood out for me with Bernie Sanders, right? I think that when Obama was in office, he started to steer the country, and you guys can disagree with me, but began to steer the country away from like, hey, we need endless war, hegemony, da 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 da. Yes, there were drone strikes, absolutely, but there were boots on the ground wars was seen as like that. We're done with that, right? And there was a little bit of a like, hey, we're in a there's multiple countries. It's a multipolar world. There's other countries out there, and the right was like, oh my God, there are other countries. How dare you? Iran's not a country. China's not a country. Cuba's not a country. And Obama administration started to turn, and Biden was part of that. But it takes an actual vision for a different foreign policy to rip and wrest some of this money away from the military. You can't do it with the status quo. You can't do it with the same old crap. You have to lay down the line and say, absolutely not, we're gonna spend $800 billion while people are dying sick in the streets and do not have a place to live. I'm sorry, that's just not what we're going to do. And the only person who's laid that out is Bernie Sanders, is some of these progressives that I hope will get, will run for office in the future, and stop letting the right and our political war machinery keep on pulling them back to this kind of a budget. Anyway, so all to say that like what I'm saying is Obama tried a little bit and got hounded for it. Biden is definitely tacked right when it comes to comparing him to Obama, tacked right when it comes to foreign policy, tougher on China, supposedly tougher, more belligerent towards China, let's put it that way. And here we are back to the same stuff.
Yeah. Not endlessly raising the budget, requiring additional amphibious ships that the White House doesn't want. a third Arleigh Burke-class destroyer that cost $2.2 billion that the White House doesn't want. A ton of money for the sea-launched cruise missile development program that the Biden administration tried to stop. It prevents the administration from retiring this massive 83 megaton gravity bomb program that they were trying to stop. These are instances in which the White House, Biden, was actually trying to stop these programs in part to save money. And the thing is, while Biden obviously still wants to deliver for wealthy people, he's got donors. There's they have bought out Congress, and that is why these sorts of things get killed. Needless weapons that nobody wants except for the manufacturers who want to continue to make them and sell them. I get some stuff. Could you put it in the form of words with cartoons by them, please? Because I find that a lot.
Should I look like Duolingo, like?
Yeah. Can you pretend to be like a really like emo teenager?
Oh, here's what you need to say right before break. You need to say a continuación, which means like right after the break. After the break, a continuación, we're gonna talk about Cya Sinema or whatever.
Thank you. I'm not gonna do that yet, but thank you. Okay, with that said, we have to get through these two topics, okay? So let's jump right into this one.
I'll tell you my priority. Protect religious liberty, protect people of faith, and protect Americans who believe in the true meaning of marriage. I hope and pray that my colleagues will find the courage to join me in opposing this misguided and this dangerous bill. And I yield back.
Yeah, that is Representative Vicky Hartzell of Missouri. And I have this thing as, I don't know if it's because I'm a lefty or the way I was raised, but when I see someone crying, I'm inclined to feel bad for them. It's just a reflex, I can't stop it. But now I'm good. She's the worst because she was crying there, desperately trying to get the House to not pass the already incredibly weak sauce Respect for Marriage Act. Because let's be very clear, Representative Vicky Hartzell so opposes the idea of two people who love each other in a way that she doesn't like being together, that she wants to stop federal recognition of it happening, which would be bad enough, except you have to add in the context that it has been legal for years and years at this point, and she's still breaking down in tears in her fight to stop those people from being together. She's the sort of person that would have told you in advance of the Supreme Court legalizing it that society will crumble if gay people can get married. And despite the fact that she wouldn't be able to point to a single negative consequence of years of uninterrupted marriages happening all over the place, nothing bad happening, only love and people coming together, she's still breaking down in tears. She's not breaking down in tears because of her passion or her values. It is utter weakness. She is broken and can't see what healthy relationships are actually about, and so she wants to stop them from even happening. You
know, I think Dr. Ritchie needs to come in and just talk about the Karenicity of that moment, right?
Yes.
There is a moment in all Karenicity, right? It is the third act of being a Karen, and that is the cry, right? First, it is the outrage, the epithet, the calling the police, the being a tattletale on some stuff that isn't even against any laws, and then the cry. I give you Act 3, and that is the cry. What is the cry? The cry is you minding your own business and living your life somehow victimizes me. How does that work? I don't know, but there are tears, so I take precedent over everything. Like, how in the hell is someone marrying who they love? How does that hurt you? How does that hurt you? How does that affect your life? Unless it's like your husband who's straight up trying to leave you for his lover, in which I feel like might be the case right now.
I have no idea. I'm sure that explains some people, but there's also just people who they're messed up and they want other people to be unhappy and to be lonely and to be apart.
If they can't be unhappy, then if they get to be happy, then whatever it is, they want everyone to be as unhappy as she is.
Yeah,
I didn't quite.
I hate it. Anyway, the good thing, a quick heads up to the TD. If we can get ready, I think we can fit in E next. But final point on this story. She thankfully, while she has been in Congress since 2011, she will not be returning in 2023. She lost her campaign for an open Senate seat. So she's like a lame duck, And yeah, so she's gonna have to take her tears on the road, I guess, because she won't have a platform for spreading her hatred and fear and homophobia and all that in the very near future. Okay, with that said, why don't we jump to one more topic? Senator Thom Tillis says that he's against this Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and he's stopping it from going forward because of his concerns over abortion, which I want to be very clear, is not in any way a part of this bill. There is nothing about abortion in it, but he's still gonna stop these rights from being enshrined in law. Take a look.
I have to begin by thanking my friend and colleague, the senator from Pennsylvania, for his efforts to ensure that pregnant women have access to accommodations, reasonable accommodations at work. They need to have healthy pregnancies. As the husband of a wife who had 2 children while she was working and the grandfather of 2 grandchildren with a daughter who's a nurse, I absolutely want to make sure that those sort of reasonable accommodations are accounted for. However, in its current form, this legislation before us would give federal bureaucrats at the EEOC authority to mandate that employers nationwide provide accommodations, such as leave to obtain abortions on demand under the guise of pregnancy-related condition.
So look, he's lying about the implications there. I just want to be very clear about that. He's lying. He's trying to draw abortion into this because he thinks that will get right wingers to despise it. But to be clear, he probably also would just be fine with stopping the bill anyway because it is a mild set of regulations on business. Let's be very clear about what this actually does. It's not about abortion. It's, for instance, workplaces have to allow pregnant women to use the bathroom. They have to have time and access to the bathroom. Minor accommodations so that people's lives during a very difficult time are not an absolute living hell. So it's possible that he's just deluded about this abortion thing. It's also possible that he just doesn't care what happens to pregnant women. In any event, the result of this is that we don't know what will end up happening with this in terms of the law, but he's trying to kill it. These minor additional rights finally being made law. Now we have an actual recently pregnant person here. Francesca, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's once again Republican hypocrisy times a million. I've been putting out the call. If a right winger wanted to pay or still wants to pay for any of my prenatal or postnatal or childcare, Venmo me, baby. I am absolutely willing to accept your money if you actually believe in families and supporting babies. But you don't, and guess who's greater than their the veneer of caring about families and babies? Who comes first before babies? Corporations. And if there is a chance that a corporation would have to mandate that a pregnant person get a moment of rest or be able to sit down or be able to use the restroom or be able to have a sick day because they're nauseous because they have a morning sickness. No. We absolutely cannot miss out on money. We can't. And so again, we see their hypocrisy all the time. And lastly, look, we just come out of a pandemic. We just came out of a moment where millions of people left the workforce because they had to stay at home with kids, because they were not making ends meet. Who are those people? 9 times out of 10, they've been women. They've been women, and largely moms have been forced out of the workplace. And not just like a few thousand, in hundreds of thousands, in millions of people have quit the workforce, and those are women. Yeah. And it's because of things like this, because of not being able to be pregnant or have a small child or be nursing when you also have to work. Yeah. And that is what the Republicans want. They're well, you shouldn't work in the first place. Women should be in the home, like cooking. It's like, yeah, baby.
That's what they actually believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm down to do that. Can we survive on one income in this economy? No. Because y'all you're robbing everything from us, okay?
So, not unless you support Matt's Patreon, at least. It's gonna be tough. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Great points. Yeah, no, that's totally true. And look, it's also possible that they just don't want to set up a precedent where businesses actually have to care about you being human. Like, if pregnant women get time to go pee, then shouldn't Amazon delivery drivers get time to go pee? They don't care about you. Your biology is an inconvenience to the corporate machine. Anyway, with that said, thank you, everyone. We've got a lot more to come after this break, so don't go anywhere. Thanks for listening to the full episode of The Damage Report. Support our work, listen ad-free, access members-only bonus content, and more by subscribing to Apple Podcasts at apple.co/TYT. I'm your host, John Adarola. I'll see you soon.